anything else. Let's go straight to Europe, where we're joined by I24 News Europe correspondent Jonathan Sacerdoti. Jonathan, good morning to you. In London, taking a look and examining all these amazing new deals that are signed by the Iranian president. What is expected today in France? And when it comes to this Associated Press report, if you have any knowledge about that, about the French asking for new sanctions?
Well, this visit was originally expected in November, but of course was cancelled after the Paris attacks. Now, however, less sensitive in Paris. And in fact, as we heard, there has been this move to bend over backwards to welcome Rouhani. Italy, in its section of the tour, hid its nude statues, its cultural heritage, in order to spare his sensitivities. And France has been a little bit tougher on the niceties, saying that they would not hold a state banquet for Mr. Rouhani because he demanded that there be no wine. So it's been interesting in that respect to see how the different countries have dealt with these rather prudish sensitivities of the theocracy of modern-day Iran. But neither country has been quite so tough when it came to business deals, and both are expecting to be part of a spending bonanza in this new investment in Iran. France, no exception. It can gain enormously from the expected aircraft deals, as well as possibly automobile deals that are going to take place between the two countries. Peugeot, for example, was an enormous company in Iran before the sanctions, and now is hoping perhaps to regain some of that market. It actually had a very large plant locally in Iran building Peugeot cars, which are very popular in the country, and that's something that they could be hoping to see happening again. When we see also the aerospace industry and we see airliners in Iran quite so old, for years those sanctions stopped them being able to order new aircraft as they needed, stopped them being able to repair the aircraft they needed. Now that could all change again in a deal which could also help benefit the United Kingdom as well as France.
As well as France. It is clear that the Iranian president is capitalizing very quickly on the lifting of the sanctions. Asking you, Jonathan, though, as you said at the beginning, that all these statements coming out of European leaders in terms of Iran needing to change its policy, etc., do we put any credence as that, or do you think it's just lip service? At the end of the day, approximately $18 billion have already been garnered in deals?
Well, of course, there's several elements to this deal, and there's the oil aspect as well. The Total, the French oil company, is looking again at Iranian oil now to see whether that is going to be something that could be part of one of these deals taking place. It's a large trade delegation with Mr. Rouhani as well. But as we mentioned again in the introduction to all of this, there is the inclusion of a couple of French and European, rather, officials who have said that they might be interested in more sanctions, just as the US has actually imposed some more sanctions because of these ballistic missile tests that Iran is engaging in. But this really pales into insignificance when we're looking at what's actually happening over this 5-day visit. We see that this rush to Iranian dealing, this rush to trade, is really what's characterizing the main gist of this stay, and enormous amounts of money swapping hands and being able to be invested in this new two-way trade agreement. And that, of course, is what Iran is also emphasizing during this visit.
During the visit, Jonathan Sacerdoti from London, I want to thank you for joining us this morning.